On the show of St. Louis in Tune, we're going to talk to Tim Osell. He's directing Suddenly Last Summer, the Tennessee Williams St. Louis production. We're going to talk about World Peace Day and something going on in Alabama with one of the mayors, the word of the day, and some humor. Greetings, listeners in Listenerland. Welcome to St. Louis in Tune with Arnold Stricker and Mark Langston, where we size up current and historic events involving people, places, and things in areas such as the arts, crime, education, employment, faith, finance, food, government, health, history, housing, humor, justice, and sports. We originate from and connect the gateway city to what is going on regionally, nationally, and internationally. Mark Langston?
I'm glad we're sizing things up.
We are.
We need to size it up.
Length, height, and width.
That's just width.
Yeah.
My width is getting a little out of hand.
No comment.
No. I haven't seen my feet in about 5 years.
Uh-oh.
I can't see my toes.
Uh-oh. That's not a good
That's all you're going to say is,
only in the mirror, maybe, right?
I stay away from mirrors. And reflections, you don't want to, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah. I need them to comb my hair.
I have a good face for radio.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
You didn't get that one. I need a mirror to comb my hair.
Okay.
I don't have any.
You don't have it. I know.
Right.
What are you talking about?
Our return to civility, because we always encourage everyone out there, especially our listeners, to return to civility. If you are house cleaning for someone, clean their house for them. Excuse me, not house cleaning. If you're house sitting for someone.
Wait, should we start this over again?
If you're house sitting for someone, clean their house. Did I say house cleaning?
Yes. I'm sorry.
I haven't had my lunch for the day.
Yeah,
My brain's a little shy of some sugar.
Yeah.
If you're house sitting for someone, clean their house for them. An hour's worth of vacuuming and dusting can make their return home a delightful experience, especially if they're tired. That is really true.
Come to my house anytime and clean it. I'm okay with it.
Only if I'm house sitting.
Okay. Well, you can do that. Come on over.
You know, if you're a house sitter for pets and stuff, if you do little kind of chore stuff, like some people may not like that, like get my vacuum out. And some people may argue, wow, that's great. And what it does is it really, especially if you're coming home from a long trip, it does make it helpful.
Oh, yeah. That's nice. That is nice.
So
unless they go through all your drawers.
No. Right. So if you're house sitting for someone, clean their house for them. Okay.
Boy, we're off to a good start.
Wow.
This is going to be a long show.
Wow. Tim's going to love this. We have Tim Osell. He is a director of theater and opera, and he is directing the production called Suddenly Last Summer. It's the Tennessee Williams Festival, St. Louis, which is in the 8th annual season. And Tim, welcome to St. Louis in Tune.
Thanks. Great to be here.
And you already know that we're a couple bricks shy of a full load.
We're hoping when we get done, you're still glad to have been here.
Gee, I'm glad I went on with those two jokers.
I know.
So we can be serious.
Can I ask Tim something, though?
Sure.
Do you sing opera, Tim, yourself?
I started out as an opera singer in college. That's what I wanted to be. And
Really?
I did a couple small things.
Yeah.
And then decided that I really don't like being in front of an audience at all. It does not do a thing for me, but I really like being on the other side of the table.
Okay.
But I like being from the back of the house, controlling the story that's on the stage, or at least shaping the story that's on the stage. Much prefer that than being in the spotlight.
Because opera singers fascinate me. It's just amazing how they sing and what they do.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm going, wow, are you singing? Can you do a couple of lines?
There's something you have to have the gift,
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Your vocal apparatus has to be in tune with that kind of production. Otherwise, it's just not possible. And you also have to have the high notes or the low notes or wherever you are. And then the language skill, all those, they're still doing foreign language opera stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So opera theater doesn't, but almost everybody else that used to do everything in English, now back in Kansas City, they do foreign language opera stuff now and use the surtitle.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah.
It is to do it in the original language that it's written. That's one thing I appreciate about Opera Theater St. Louis is you get it in English.
Right.
And
and you're so close at Opera Theater too.
Yes.
I mean, it feels like you're in it the way you do when you want to play. So I love that. I've directed a couple of things, a couple of English versions or English operas in English, Dead Man Walking and Doubt, both the Union Avenue Opera.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Dead Man Walking is one of my favorites. Dead Man Walking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
it's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Very powerful.
You've got a great pedigree. I'm looking at your resume here and your related experience, and you have just a boatload of productions that you've done. And I didn't know, I'm glad Mark asked that question about you being a singer, but you've been a stage manager and you've been production, and you have a complete understanding of what it takes to put on a production from the vantage point I'm looking at.
I certainly have a point of view about and some experience. Absolutely. But times change, and think you got to keep up with the times. Experience is good. Getting old is not so good.
No.
The body keeping up with the amount of physical activity that goes into directing a production, depending on the theater. It's a balancing act. But yeah, I've done a lot, and I like it. I love Shakespeare, particularly.
Yeah, you did some Shakespeare in the Park here.
I was wondering.
The Henry IV Part 1, Part 2 mashup. I think that was in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
We did Henry IV Parts 1 and 2 and Henry V in rep with the same cast that summer. Love that play. Henry IV Part 1, my favorite Shakespeare play. Absolutely, hands down.
Do you have a preference? Let me ask you this. It's not a preference. Differences in directing opera production versus theater productions.
Mm-hmm.
The schedule is different.
Mm-hmm.
So there is it is different in how you have to organize yourself. Opera, you have to stage almost everything in advance and then tell the singers what you want and then change it from there. With the theater production, especially with a small cast, or if you're doing one-on-one scenes, and suddenly last summer I only had 7 people in it, and there's a lot of one-on-one. So like this morning I was doing my homework on scenes 2 and 3, and I have staging for them, but if I go into the rehearsal hall and the actors don't want me to give them staging, if they want to create it themselves or they want to explore it first and then have me shape what they do, I yelling in my script that I can always go back to. But I like the actors to be as creative as possible. It's harder for opera singers because they're not, one, they have to stay on the beat. They're the way they say lines, opera singers, it's given to them. So that's one thing. And they also have to watch the conductor at the whole time. So it's harder for them to make up staging as they sing. Sometimes with opera, I would have them walk and talk if I wanted them to actually make up something. So it's like, okay, well, let's not sing it. Let's just talk the scene and see whether you have an impulse. And that's what I'm interested in with actors. I love being in the rehearsal hall with actors because they have these impulses that just come out of their bones or their souls or something that I never anticipated. I only see the play from my point of view or when I'm reading it or working on it. So when you get the group of actors together, it's like, oh, okay, I never thought of that before. Or, oh, that's surprising. Or, oh, no, that's way over in left field. Come back and let's center up in the story. So it's a real collaboration.
Yeah, I was going to use that word because that's, I think, a big one of your style is that you let actors do their thing unless, like you mentioned, they've gone off into left field and maybe have left really what the intention from the author is.
Absolutely. I love to collaborate. I love it. And you not only have to collaborate with the actors, you have to collaborate with the designers. And you actually even have to collaborate with the stage. Not just the set, but the actual theater. If you're working in thrust, I work up at American Players Theater a lot, and the outdoor theater, the thrust of it, it's very strange because you got people wrapped around. There's almost 1,000 people. You have these aisles coming down. The sight lines are odd. So you have to work to make the play accessible to everyone in the theater as much as possible. I'm very democratic about that. Working at the Loretto Hilton, trying to work those side sections, both for the opera company and I've directed stuff for Webster University on that stage. And it's tricky. Thrust is very tricky.
Yes.
Yeah. And I love to collaborate. I really do. I think the director's job is to enable. All I have is rehearsals, but what I have to do is enable a group of people to work together to tell the clearest and the best story that they possibly can.
Wow.
And that's really refreshing because sometimes I think people maybe have the idea of a director as it's top down. I'm telling you what to do. You're going to do everything I tell you to do. And if you don't like it, hit the road.
This is great insight. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah. I don't really like doing that. I'm not that kind of leader. I'd rather, I have a sound designer friend that says I like to hold hands and walk down the yellow brick road with people. I do like to go off to see the wizard with everyone together. And also that actors who find it or actors who are in collaboration with you, they actually embody better than if you tell them, oh, no, this is what you're feeling here.
Was that something you...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say it's just better for them to find it in their bone, and then it feels more authentic to them. They just get to the authenticity of their bone faster and more firmly that way.
That makes perfect sense. And it also appreciates their talent and their creative process in the course of that.
Yeah.
Was that always something that you had when you were up at Minnesota and working on your degree, or was that something that was developed as you were working in opera companies and production and doing those things?
I would say I learned it in college. I think that my college directing teacher up at University of Minnesota Duluth encouraged us to find it with the actors, not tell them too much too soon, let language and impulse and motivation guide for a while. And of course, it depends on how much rehearsal time you have. That's another difference between theater and operas. Opera generally never has a lot of rehearsal time. Theater companies, it depends on the company, but usually you'll have more rehearsal time during a day rather than 9 days of rehearsal for an opera or 2 weeks or whatever. There can be 3.5 weeks or more. The last production I did, Our Town, up at American Players, I was up there for 9 weeks. Now I was in rep with 4 other plays in rehearsal. So I didn't always have my cast available to me. So I was hurry up and wait a lot. But I had almost 200 hours of rehearsal.
Wow.
When we finally got through it. I know that's a lot.
Seems like a lot.
Yeah. A lot of rehearsal. It's a 3-act play. And Suddenly Last Summer is a 90-minute play. We just started on Tuesday. We had our first read-through, read it 90 minutes. I think it's going to come in around then as well. There were parts that were a little slow, and there was a part where, we didn't do the physical action where there's no dialogue, but I think it's going to be between 90 and 95 minutes.
I don't think I've ever gone to a 3-act play, honestly.
No?
No, I don't think I've been to quite a few plays.
Death of a Salesman, Streetcar Named Desire, all of those, they're all 3-act plays.
Okay.
Well, it isn't until we got to the 60s and the 70s that we started going to the 2-act thing. And then now it's like everybody's writing long 1-act. And this was a 1-act because it was on its double bill with another play called Something Unspoken. And it was under the title of Garden District, which is one of the wealthy sections in
New Orleans.
And so the opening 1-act was about 30 minutes long, maybe 25, 30 minutes long, 2-hander. And those 2 actors, 2 women, those 2 women were also in Suddenly Last Summer. So they opened with a curtain raiser, 30 minutes, took the intermission, and then did play. But like Head on a Hudson Roof is a 3-act play, Streetcar's 3-act. Tennessee Williams, at least those 50 plays were 3-act.
So was that one kind of a setup for...
In the sense of, I would say in terms of tone, but also in terms of sexuality. So the 2 women, there's this older rich woman, which is kind of like Violet Venable in Suddenly Last Summer, And then there's her companion. And in Suddenly Last Summer, Violet also has a companion, Miss Foxhill. But the Miss Foxhill role is very small. But there's something unspoken seems to be about some kind of relationship possibility that could happen, or that could have happened between them. But it got too late for them because they're both older. That. And I know Carrie's doing something unspoken. I think they did the radio play version of it, but she's doing it live in connection as part of the festival. And so that kind of exploration of a lesbian relationship gets hopped over into Suddenly Last Summer in terms of the Sebastian Venable character being homosexual. You don't see that character at all because he's dead before the play starts. And Tennessee did that a lot. So there's men in Carrie that are homosexual men that are dead before the play begins. And Carrie, that's the main one. Skipper and is Brick really a latent homosexual? And did he cause? And then Blanche Dubois' dead husband who commits suicide in Streetcar Named Desire. There's this book called The Celluloid Closet, Vito Russo, who did this. And I think there's actually a documentary too, where he talked about gay men and women in film up to a certain point, and that basically those characters either ended up being murdered or committing suicide for a long time, or they were in the closet. The Eric Blore and the Frank Pangborn characters from those Fred Astaire movies, 1930s, 1940s, where they played the hotel manager or the waiter or something, and you could tell they were gay, and they were fun and gay and all that stuff. They were basically closet. The characters that actually have sexuality generally ended up dead. And Suddenly Last Summer, that happens as well. That's not a spoiler. We know that Sebastian dead at the beginning of the play. And Tennessee Williams, of course, was also homosexual in dealing with trying to come out of the closet, trying to be a gay man in the world. And it came out in his writing. Tennessee is Blanche Dubois in Streetcar Named Desire. Tennessee is other female characters in his play. And then we have, and his family, his mother, Edwina, and his sister Rose, who actually had a lobotomy. Those are the mother and the sister in The Glass Menagerie. The trio of Catherine, George, and Mrs. Holly are a mirror version of that family. So that's interesting. Catherine, in our story in Suddenly Last Summer, could potentially have a lobotomy. So that's where the tension comes. This play is very Southern Gothic. It's sexy. It's really sweaty. It's really sexy. It's passionate. And I'm starting to think that it's a murder mystery. If you like a good murder mystery and trial, that's actually what this play is.
You're right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Like all of the suspects in its end come together. It's really about Catherine. If Violet is the prosecutor and Catherine is the defendant, then the doctor is the judge. Is Catherine going to have a lobotomy, or is she sane, or is she not sane? It's really interesting. And then money and power. Violet, of course. Is it okay that I give spoilers?
Yes, I love spoilers. Come on.
Okay, great. There you go.
Don't stop now.
Violet's going to give money to the doctor and build a whole new wing for the lobotomy. He lobotomizes her niece because she wants her niece to shut up about about her son.
Right.
So there's this bribe tension. Is he going to give in to that? And then she bribed the mother and the brother with $50,000 each if they sign off on it. Okay, this is 1935. Historically, lobotomies came to the country they started in, I think, 34, 35, and then came to the U.S. in 36, 37. And so it's a really new procedure in the mid-30s.
It's a weird
Yeah,
procedure.
it's twisted.
Yes.
It's also Greek. It's very Greek. The end of the play is very the Bacchae. And so there's a lot of references to other literary work in the play, subliminally.
Can I just say I'm enjoying listening to your descriptions through the lens of a director? Could we have
Absolutely.
We have a lot of actors on, and we talk to them, but seeing this through your lens, it seems like you're a younger director, and just love what you're doing. So I'm enjoying the conversation.
Thank you. I love the play. I really, really do love the play. It's a terrific play.
Yeah.
And I have to say, the language work in this play, Tennessee Williams, 1958 was when it was new. The poetic prose.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
It's as good as Streetcar. It's as good as He Was a Boy, Just a Boy, Blanche's speech about her husband. It's amazing. I think I say in the director notes in the program that Tennessee's language is as good, and it does what great music does. It speaks the unspeakable, or it cracks open a new part of the soul that just the way language is used.
I enjoy that.
And about people.
Yeah. I enjoy when they use the language of the time, you know? And I think that really sometimes, it just adds to it for me.
This is Arnold Stricker with Mark Langston of St. Louis in Tune. We're talking to Tim Osell. He is directing the Suddenly Last Summer play for the Tennessee Williams Festival, St. Louis. And just to give you a little bit about Tim, he was the outstanding director of a drama, A Streetcar Named Desire, at the Tennessee Williams Festival, St. Louis in 2019, and received that from the St. Louis Area Critics Award. It was the St. Louis Theater Circle Awards. And you've gotten numerous awards, and like I said, your pedigree is crazy. I couldn't believe the number of plays that you have done in numerous states, variety of theaters, and really in theater and in opera, and you've really honed your craft and know what you're looking for. And with a collaborative relationship, I would imagine that your talent is pretty much in demand.
I've worked a lot. Yeah. I'm getting old, so I'm slowing down a little bit. I'm a homebody. I like being home. Being on the road now is harder.
I get that.
And but I certainly still love being in the rehearsal hall with the actors and with the play.
Now,
examining a play with really good actors, it's mind-blowing. It's a drug. I get to sit in the rehearsal hall and I get to cry and I get to laugh and my brain is going 100 miles an hour. And basically all I do is think. I get to think. I think that's a director's main job, is to think. You sit there and when something lies, it's like you just raise your hand and you go, wait, what? We got off track, or what just happened? Or can we make this clearer? So that's really what it is. I'm just in a sense, an educated audience member who wants to always be in the play. So that's what rehearsals are, is trying to keep the actors always engaging me in the play. Every word, every moment, I have to be leaning forward into the play.
I love it. I would think you're a unique director. I
agree with that.
I can see directors being like, no, we want to do it this way. I want you to try to come in this way and do it this way. No, a little more. It sounds to me like you let it happen. It's more organic. I hate to really use a word like that, but organic. And if I was an actor, I would appreciate that a lot more than being.
Well, and a lot of actors, they come in and they're clean slates, and I actually don't like that. I like actors to make choices. I think that's an actor's job, to come in and make a choice.
Right.
That's why you hire them.
Put their talent to work.
Yeah, and they want to work. But you can also suggest, you can also say, well, what if you did it rather? Let's do the 180 version of that, what you just did. And don't come on strong, but come on in hiding or something. There's so many ways to play a moment. Let's explore those, and I'm very good at saying I was wrong. I asked you to do something or whatever and I was wrong. I'm also really good at saying I don't know.
Yeah.
At this point, I don't know. We have a bunch of different choices. Let's let it sit overnight, or let's let it sit for a couple of days and see where we are next time we go through it.
Wow.
And I actually trust actors that, especially when you get the whole play behind you, it's one thing to rehearse out of order or out of sequence or but once you get the whole play running, the actors are it's gonna come from different places. They're gonna discover that. I'm not. I'm gonna view it, but they're the ones who are gonna discover it. And again, good actors, man, they blow me away.
I want to explore that a little bit more. We're going to have to take a quick break, Tim, if you can hang on with us. We'll be right back for our next segment. You're listening to St. Louis in Tune with Arnold Stricker and Mark Langston on the U.S. Radio Network. This is Arnold Stricker of St. Louis in Tune on behalf of the Dred Scott Heritage Foundation. In 1857, the Dred Scott decision was a major legal event and catalyst that contributed to the Civil War. The decision declared that Dred Scott could not be free because he was not a citizen. The 14th Amendment, also called the Dred Scott Amendment, granted citizenship to all born or naturalized here in our country and was intended to overturn the U.S. Supreme Court decision on July 9, 1868. The Dred Scott Heritage Foundation is requesting a commemorative stamp to be issued from the U.S. Postal Service to recognize and remember the heritage of this amendment by issuing a stamp with the likeness of the man Dred Scott. But we need your support and the support of thousands of people who would like to see this happen. To achieve this goal, we ask you to download, sign, and share the one-page petition with others. To find the petition, please go to dredscottlives.org and click on the Dred Scott Petition Drive on the right side of the page. On behalf of the Dred Scott Heritage Foundation, this has been Arnold Stricker of St. Louis in Tune.
At St. Louis in Tune, we strive to bring you informative, useful, and reflective stories, as well as interviews about current and historic issues and events that involve people, places, and things. We cover a wide range of topics, such as the arts, crime, education, employment, faith, finance, food, health, history, housing, humor, justice, and sports, and that's just to name a few. While St. Louis in Tune originates from the Gateway City and covers local topics, we also connect to what's going on nationally as well. If you missed any of our previously aired programs of St. Louis in Tune, simply visit stlintune.com. That's stlintune.com. There you'll find the show notes and everything that was mentioned in that episode and all the other great episodes as well. And if you've got an area that you'd like us to examine deeper, well, just let us know by dropping us a note at stlintune@gmail.com. That's stlintune@gmail.com. St. Louis in Tune. It's heard Monday through Friday on the USRadioNetwork.com. and many great radio stations around the U.S. and, of course, right here in St. Louis. Our website again is stlintune.com. Visit us today. That's stlintune.com.
Tim's doing the happy dance here. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome back to St. Louis in Tune. This is Arnold Stricker with Mark Langston. We are talking to Tim Lascelles. We're having a great conversation with him. He's directing Suddenly Last Summer. Production going to be happening at the Tennessee Williams Festival, St. Louis. He's a director of theater and opera, has been an adjunct faculty at Webster University, also St. Louis University and Washington University, and was up at the University of Kansas and all over the place.
He's everywhere. He's everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. I know.
That's an inside joke. That's
Chicken Man.
Chicken Man, right?
He's everywhere.
You familiar with Chicken Man?
I've heard of him.
You should. They talk about, I'm telling you what, the productions are great. It was done in the 60s, and just the way it's the old-fashioned radio kind of stuff. Well, here's Chicken Man. Will he?
Did their own sound effects. I think there was just 2 or 3 actors.
Guys, yeah, and they just do it. Yeah, it was truly a production. Anyway, okay.
Yeah.
Whoa. Sorry, Tim.
Wrong button there.
Yep.
So when you are going through rehearsals, and I really appreciate what you're saying, because I think there's a stereotype in maybe Mark's and my brain, just maybe because of our age and what we've seen directors do and how they act in some kind of production, and maybe it's in movies or things that we've seen of how they're portrayed. But we've talked to other directors, and I always ask this question, do you watch the performance when they perform? And one said, I'm there for the first night and then I'm gone. And what do you do?
I'm there for the first night, and it depends on if it's an out-of-town thing and I'm going home, like I'm in Indianapolis, and after opening night, I come back. I want to go home, especially if I'm there for 5 weeks or so. Mm-hmm. I just want to come home. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'll get back. It depends on if I'm going on to a new job. Sometimes I've done 3 in a row where you open one and then you start another play the next week, and then you open it and you start another play, and you have to get to where you're going. And it's tiring to do that, but you can't get back. The Our Town I just directed opened on July 2nd. Now this is happening. And then I'm going to try to get back. I have to go back. I'm directing King Lear next summer up at American Players, and I've auditioned, but not until the last week of October. And by then Our Town will be closed. It will have just closed, so I can't see it again. But now, anytime I want to watch the show, I can email the stage manager and say, hey, send me the link for the booth camera.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
And I can watch it in a sense from the booth,
mm-hmm.
and the stage mic, not the actors are mic, but the monitors are mic for the booth and for the dressing rooms. I can listen to the show through that, and I can watch it from the booth. And I have to say that technology is incredible, because I can rehearse a scene or an act, run an act on the set or in the theater or even in the rehearsal hall. And the designers, we can film it and just send it to the designers so that they have a sense of what's happening with the actors or how long a music cue might be or any of that stuff. It's pretty amazing.
Wow.
I generally will go back once if it's something in town.
Mm-hmm.
But
okay.
It's not like I would go every night. I've seen it 8,000. I've seen it more than the actors.
Yeah.
I have to be at every rehearsal. The actors don't.
True.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
See where I get a little
And
tight.
with opera, when you're rehearsing 10 to 10 with opera,
No.
okay, so they're going 10 to 1, 2 to 5, 7 to 10, right? The piano's going the whole time.
Right.
People, you're in this room.
Right,
People
right.
are singing.
Right.
And it's like, oh, I got it. It's like a break. Yeah.
And
So-
I don't even like this song.
Well, that's something happened. I was like, why
Why did they write that aria so
supposed to
long?
do this? Yeah.
Right.
So when you're doing opera and you're having to collaborate with the conductor also a little bit in some of this, how does that work back and forth?
It can work badly or it can work really well. It depends on how egocentric is maybe not the right word, but
That's a great word.
I think that's good. They got to check that ego
Yeah.
at the door. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it depends. And the singers as well. A lot of the singers have done the role more than once before they get to you. The conductors as well. They've conducted it in many places. They have an idea of how it should go. The problem with that is that they're not in the moment of my rehearsal or our rehearsal in our room, and that there might be a new idea or a better idea.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, the conductor, it's a hard job. They not only have to keep the singers together, they have to keep the band together, the pit down there, and they have to collaborate. They have to collaborate that way. So they're holding the forces together. Not an easy thing to do. But if you have a conductor who's interested in the theater of it, then that's an easier personality to actually collaborate with. Then you can actually have a conversation about, well, what is the story here? There are some conductors, though, that go, no, I don't know. The music says it's this, rather than the story says it's this. So that gets tricky.
It does.
Really tricky, depending if the singer, the singer can't act that, or they can't. I want to make the singer or the character. I want to make the singer, enable the singer to give the strongest performance and most authentic performance that they can. And if they're trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, given whatever the tempo is, and tempo is the biggest. That's the biggest bugaboo when it comes to conductors. Well, the singer's out of breath. They can't do it that slow, or it's too fast. They can't sing the chords that fast. Or, okay, so if it's going to be that slow, then what does that say about the character? If it's going to be that fast, what does it say about the character? And also, if everybody has to have their eyes on the conductor the whole time, well, they can't act. So that gets tricky.
Yeah, that makes
In
sense.
some place like opera theater and opera theater is actually the exception because it's a thrust. So you don't always have singers facing forward to watch the conductor.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's monitors over the tube auditorium, so the singer facing to the side, let's say, they can see out the monitor out of the corner of their eye, the video monitor of the conductor. And actually, throughout and the opera theater configuration in the Loretto Hilton, it feels more like naturalistic acting because the singers can actually face each other when they're singing to each other or talking or whatever. Right? You can actually, it feels more real than the Metropolitan where everybody has to face
forward
because it's 4,000 feet. Yeah. And it's kind of like the Muni. There's some things that I think work really well at the Muni, like 42nd Street, because it's a presentational thing. Mm-hmm. Not that those actors have to do that because they're on body mic, but that story is very presentational. Where something like, let's say, Ren is not as presentational, or that might be a bad example because there is some that does feel forward in Ren. But maybe West Side Story, it's like, well, you really do want characters to interact with each other. Yeah, tricky.
It is.
Tricky.
And as you were talking about that, I was thinking how much more valuable your experience is as an opera director going into the theater and as a theater director going into the opera and having done both. It makes your directing much more dynamic and you really understand what you were talking about, the setting, the theater itself. You understand a whole variety of things that maybe somebody who's just doing theater directing or just directing opera would miss. And I can understand now why you have done as much as you've done and have had the success that you've had, and compliments to you on that. You're wearing several hats, and it's shown in the awards and the amount of things that you've done. So that's really cool.
Thank you. Yeah. No matter what the medium, I always try to tell a clear story. And I want it to be engaging for an audience. And because that's what I want when I buy a ticket and go to the theater. I want to understand the story, and I want to be engaged fully. That's why we pay the big bucks to go to the theater.
I couldn't agree more. I'd love to. I hate it when I don't understand what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. It's like, wait, what did they just?
I know.
Why did the thing they just did contradict the thing that they did?
Right.
10 minutes ago.
That's why I like it when you do the spoiler alerts. So at least I have an idea what's going on. I don't miss anything. But yeah, I really like knowing what's going on. Yeah.
Well,
it's my last number. The plot is very, you understand it. And it's a very, Tennessee Williams really talky, like Shakespeare, although Shakespeare's got those nice battle scenes, but very talky.
There's some long individual sessions there.
Oh, yeah. When I go into a Tennessee Williams rehearsal hall, it's like I'm freaking out because it's like this is a lot of text and they just sit around. It's like, well, how do we make this active? Okay, let's do that. But it's talky. Beautiful.
Yeah, it is talky.
Yeah.
Actually, good point.
Yeah. And the characters are creepy and pervert and wonderful and great. So it's their personalities. It's a big inside with Tennessee Williams. You got a big old soul inside with those characters. That's where all the movement is. You're watching these personalities. Are they going to fall apart or not fall apart?
Right.
Are they going to freak out or not freak out? Are they going to love or not love? What's happening?
This is interesting.
It is very interesting.
Coming from his...
from his perspective.
Yeah, Tennessee Williams too. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tim, thanks very much. We've been talking to Tim LaSalle. He's directing Suddenly last summer for the Tennessee Williams Festival St. Louis, and folks, you can see that. It's September 7th through the 17th. It's going to be at the Catherine Burgess Theater at COCA. That's the Center of Creative Arts. September 7th through the 17th. Tim, this has been a wonderful time together, and I appreciate you taking time.
Yeah, I know.
You're welcome.
Got a little overtime here with you, but thank you. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thanks, you guys.
You
All
come
right.
back
Thank you,
again.
sir.
Okay. All right.
Okay. All right.
Select him. All right. There we go.
That's an unbelievable kind of understanding that, like I said, we've got this, you and I probably have this stereotype of what this, you sit in the director chair. No, I don't want that.
Right.
You know, what do you get over there? What's the matter with you? Yeah. Yeah.
Bossy pants.
And for him to have that opera background and then to go into the theater and then the theater to go into the opera background just seems to make such a strong directing understanding. He's managed over 75 productions.
That's amazing. He's made a living out of it.
Yeah, including the Idaho Shakespeare Festival, Opera Theater St. Louis, which he mentioned, Central City Opera, Michigan Opera Theater, Tulsa Opera Omaha, Summer Opera Theater Company of Washington, D.C.
I bet.
He was the Associate Artistic Director of the Sacramento Theater Company. He also, let's see here, was working at the Baltimore Opera Company and the Peabody Conservatory of Music. He's done other presentations for the Tennessee Williams Festival, St. Louis, Streetcar Named Desire, which we mentioned, Night of the Iguana, which Mark, you and I saw, the Night of the Iguana. And Metro Theater Company, he's done Shakespeare Festival, King Henry IV, like you mentioned, and the New Jewish Theater. He's done that. And, Lyric Opera of Kansas City, Opera Pacific, Tulsa Opera, Union Opera, Avenue Opera, Des Moines Metro Opera, Michigan Opera Theater. It goes on and on. I said his pedigree was really long. I wasn't kidding.
Not at all. That's a heck of a list.
And he's done some adjunct work at Webster U, St. Louis U, and University of Kansas.
Which is neat. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was going to ask him, and I didn't want to hold his time because his time's valuable. But that's also, it's good when you're a practitioner and you go to teach, you're there with the latest stuff. And this isn't bashing people who just teach, but it gives you've got a foot in the real world and a foot in the theoretical world, the practical and the theoretical.
Wow. That's tough. I can see with his resume why he's enjoying being at home more.
Oh, yeah.
Or wanting to be at home anyway.
Yeah.
And he's out on the road for a long time.
And doing that.
Directing and getting everybody ready. And I don't know how the directors walk away from it though. You brought it up. You've been there. It's like your baby as it's growing up, and now it's okay.
Yeah,
you guys are on your own. I'll see you.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I went to opening night and I'm done.
Just don't trash the name.
Wow. That's
so Tennessee Williams Festival. We've had Carrie on.
Yeah.
5 or 6 or 7 times.
Yeah.
And Carrie does a great job with the festival. Again, they have some awards that they have received, and it's just a great thing that she has put together for the area. They've have other things, and I would encourage you to go to twstl.org, and get more information about the festival. Some of the things, she's converted it this year and made it an all-year kind of thing. In other words, they started back, I think, in April and May, and they were doing some things within the community. They do some things. One of these plays is going to be in U City. The other one that he mentioned, Something Unspoken, I think it's going to be at the mayor's house or something like that. So there's just a lot of things going on. Remember when we saw the play, it was at the back of where Tennessee Williams actually lived, in that building.
The apartment building.
Yeah, she's doing some very creative kinds of things, and kudos to her for what she's doing. So if you get a chance, check it out, folks. Check it out. So I wanted to mention World Peace Day is coming up, and there's going to be a World Peace concert in Webster Groves on Saturday, September the 2nd, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., and that's at the Webster Groves Garden Cafe. There are some performers already on the docket.
And that's right down the street from City Hall.
Right down the street from City Hall, just east of City Hall on the north side there. So
kind of catty corner from Dewey's Pizza.
Correct.
And the Dewey's Pizza folks, they own isn't that the Deweys that own the Cardinals, I think? Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's a fun fact.
Dewey's? Is there a Dewey that owns the Cardinals?
Well, it's related or some type of connection with
I didn't know that.
with the Cardinals, the
No.
DeWitts.
Oh, okay.
The DeWitts.
There's got to be a D to be there?
I don't know what it is, but no, it's a Cardinal ownership
Interesting.
thing about.
Interesting.
Yeah, just I don't know why, but Dewey's right there. It's catty corner.
Yep.
It's a cute little. Should I say bar? Is it a bar?
It's kind of a bar,
Restaurant,
pizzeria
bar?
place.
Yeah, kind of a fun place.
Yeah. The Garden Cafe is really nice too. You
Yeah,
get
that's
some
what
nice
I mean.
coffee.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's you get some coffee there. They have some
Sit
pastry
outside.
kinds of goods. You can sit outside. They
Right.
even have sandwiches, and just
Right.
a nice little
I don't
place.
think I've ever been there. Yeah. Seen it. I'm going to go.
Yeah, I think it was an old gas station back in the
Yes,
day.
that's what it looks like.
Back in the day.
Good way to.
Mhm. And those are
Describe
actually
it.
fun to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
To be in like that.
Oh, yeah. They've got all the brown contamination from the lifts. No, I'm kidding.
Why does that coffee taste so good? Oh yeah, it's really lubed up well.
It's the old lift. That's where we get our water
It's
from.
it's a real French
It's
press.
the high, right. Why did we go there? I don't know what happened here. What's happened?
Well, I'm going to be serious here because
Okay.
a black man was elected mayor in rural Alabama, but the white town leaders won't let him serve.
Oh, come on.
And this is, it's crazy.
Yes, it's
It's
crazy.
2023. This is New Bern, Alabama.
Wait, this just happened?
It's been going on for 3 years now.
3 years, but still, come
Yeah,
on.
He filed a federal lawsuit.
I hope.
Get that completion to this. So this is in New Bern, Alabama. And New Bern, Alabama is about, if you're thinking about the state of Alabama, it's about halfway down on the western side. And it's in an area that is called the Black Belt. And it's the Black Belt called not because of Kung Fu, karate, or anything like that, but because it has really fertile soil and because the soil grows everything. And the community in the 2020 census, and there's conflicting reports in the media versus what the census reports. Okay, so in the 2020 census, there was 133 people there. Now, media reports are saying this community has 275. Now, whether they're counting outside of the quote-unquote city limits or not, they could be doing that. So anyway, and I've seen the difference between the town is 63% black versus 85%. Okay, so I'm taking census figures, okay, but when I read an article, there may be a little bit different. But anyway, Patrick Braxton he's fed up and he filed a federal lawsuit because several years ago, let me back up. It just seemed like the mayor thing was passed down, my words, from Bubba to Bubba. And it was a family kind of deal,
you know.
And here you go, okay, you're going to be the mayor now for the next 30 years.
We'll make sure that happens.
And he submitted all of the proper paperwork and everything, and he won the mayor race. And none of the current, quote unquote, old mayor, who he didn't submit anything, my understanding.
So there was no incumbent.
Yeah, well, the incumbent Haywood Woody Stokes III, along with his council members, after they found out that Braxton really won the race, what they did is they held they held a quasi-election and reappointed themselves in this election that wasn't broadcast. In other words, they didn't announce there was going to be an election. And so they locked him out of the city hall. He's like on the volunteer fire department, and there was a fire and they wouldn't let him in to get the truck. And some gal was having a heart attack. He went to the firehouse to get the defibrillator. He couldn't get the defibrillator. He went back to his house to get it. And by the time he got back, the gal had died. So it's like, this is like a hot mess. And they're claiming sovereign immunity because of qualified immunity, because they're a local official. But it's just
wrong.
It tells, it's really wrong. It tells you, when people talk, have we come a long way? Are we out of this thing? No.
That's why I was so amazed when you're saying, no, this just happened like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
Why?
Are things better? Yes. Things are much, much better.
Good.
Is there still ways to go? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
As you evidenced here. And I looked up, I thought this was interesting too, because as I was reading that, I was like, I remember some of these Southern flags, the state flags, they actually mimic the old stars and bars. And even today, now, Mississippi really had a problem with this.
I know.
And they had the stars and bars on their flag. So did Georgia. So did South Carolina. And here are the states that still have, I would say, a visual representation of part of the stars and bars. Now, it could be just like a cross, because or the stars, or just how it's arranged.
All right.
Alabama, no surprise there.
Yeah.
Arkansas, Florida has the
interesting.
Georgia, North Carolina, and Tennessee. Now, Mississippi and South Carolina cleaned up their act.
Yeah, that's right, Tennessee.
Yeah. So I'm saying that because it's like, what in the world? What in the world?
Gosh, I don't know where to
It's like
start.
putting all these Confederate monuments up. Look, y'all lost.
I know. That's the
y'all
point.
Lost.
That's the point right there.
All y'all lost.
You lost.
And Southerners understand all y'all. That's the plural of y'all.
Yeah. It was.
And it's not, why can't we be friends? Okay. We don't see statues of Hitler in Germany right now.
No.
I'm just saying.
You're
come on,
right.
people.
You lost that war. Come on.
Or I'm going to quote our president. Come on, man. Come on, man. What's wrong with you, dude?
I do see when I drive through mid-Missouri, I see Confederate flags.
Oh, yeah.
Flying.
Up northern Missouri, like Little Dixie up there.
I don't understand anymore
I
why
don't
that.
I don't either.
I don't.
Heritage, I understand. Okay, you came from the South. You had this. That's heritage, okay?
Yeah. And you should be proud of that.
Right. Now, I don't see anybody coming from Germany saying, yeah, I'm related to somebody who did this in the SS.
In fact,
you want to distance yourself from that.
In fact, a lot of the German population still apologizing for the Nazis.
Absolutely.
For the Nazis and what they did to the world.
Then you got your whack jobs, and I'm saying it,
yeah,
who want to be the neo-Nazis.
Yeah.
It's like, seriously? Have you read history? What history did you read?
Yeah. Let's move on with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna move on to our word of the day.
Oh, no.
Deltiology.
What?
Deltiology.
What?
It's the study or collecting of postcards.
Deltiology?
Deltiology is the study of collecting postcards. It comes from the Greek deltion. It means divine providence. No, that's something else. Sorry about that. Deltiology. How about that, folks?
Now, are these postcards you send to yourself from
Or maybe you collect postcards.
Okay.
Because I do have, let me find it here. Here it is. Here's an example. Floyd Jordan is one of those people who would never confuse deltiology with scrutinizing college Greek week or studying deposits at the mouth of a river. Whatever is that?
What are you? Did you proofread this before you did
that? That's ridiculous.
This made it.
Postcards like at antique stores. People collect those.
I do.
I do. Deltiology. It's collecting postcards.
I collect
or
things,
studying them.
But sometimes I don't collect like a specific, like a bunch of trinket things. I just collect stuff.
Sure. I don't think people send postcards anymore. They just take a picture and text it or put it on Instagram.
There's no such thing.
Twitter or whatever. Oh, excuse me, X or whatever it is now. Yeah.
Right. But that's a whole nother show.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. I just collect stuff. Drives my wife nuts, Maria.
You're a stuff collector.
I know. Why do you keep bringing stuff home? Well, I showed her this one thing. I said, honey, what is this? Something I found at a
thrift store.
And she couldn't, it was metal. It had two holes in it, two, how do I say, long holes in them. And it had a cord coming out of it that you plug into the cigarette lighter, I guess that's what you call it, or the power outlet in a car. And I said, honey, what is this? She's like, I don't know, but get it out of the house. It's rusting. And I said, no, it's a hot dog cooker for your car.
Seriously?
Yes.
Wow.
So that's those kind of things you want to collect.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I wonder what that's called.
Hoarding?
Yeah, hoarding.
I think it's called hoarding.
Oh.
So that's my darker side.
That- That's the side that needs a lot of room.
Uh-huh. Yes, it
Okay.
does.
I know I had used all of my jokes up. I'm trying to quickly look for some here, but none seem to be showing up. What?
This is our studio audience is here. That's
The Pistachio Gallery.
yes, that's them. Okay,
Well-
drive an old car. Okay,
Well, I guess maybe we'll just
Yeah.
we'll just leave it there.
yeah, we're pretty close to the end. Anyway, but it's been a great show.
It has been. That was very fun talking to Tim,
Mhm.
and a lot of great insights. And that's one thing I love talking about, talking with folks about stuff like this.
Yeah.
Is you really gonna get the nitty gritty behind what they're thinking, and so when you go to see the play or the movie or
Mhm.
whatever,
Yeah.
you have a really good understanding of that.
It's a way to go.
Yep.
All right.
All right, folks. If you missed part of this episode, stlntune.com, stlntune.com, and check out some of our other stuff there.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
all there, isn't it?
It's all there.
Every bit of it's there.
Every bit of it's there.
Okay.
Have fun with that. That's all for this hour. Thanks for listening. Don't forget, when the Martians invade, there's only one race, the human race, and every one of us have different characteristics and is uniquely valuable, and that's especially true in Alabama. St. Louis in Tune is a production of Motif Media Group and the U.S. Radio Network. For St. Louis in Tune co-host Mark Langston, I'm Arnold Stricker. Remember to walk worthy and let your light shine.